Inventing the scientific method. It took thousands of years to invent the scientific method. The earliest written record of scientific observation comes from ancient Egypt around 5,000 years ago. It's called the Edwin Smythe Papyrus. This book gives instructions for doctors based on observations of patients' injuries. The great scholar Aristotle was born in Greece in 384 BCE. He asked many questions about the world. Around him, Aristotle believed that he could find the answers using just two steps: observation and careful thinking. Scientists followed Aristotle's method for centuries, but his process sometimes led to mistakes. To improve the scientific method, new steps had to be added. Alhazen was born in Iraq in 965 CE. He was probably the first person to add both experiments and math to Aristotle's method. That's why he's known as the father of the scientific method. Alhazen is most famous for his experiments with light. In his book of Optics, he became the first person to explain correctly how the eyes work. The scientific revolution. European scientists believed knowledge came from reading books by ancient authors such as Aristotle. In the 1450s, it became faster and easier to make copies of books. It also became easier for Europeans to get books written outside of Europe, such as those by Alhazen. Soon Europeans became interested in doing their own experiments. That was the start of the period known as the Scientific Revolution. Some of the most important scientists in history lived during this time. One of the first scientific revolution scientists was Galileo Galilei. Galileo was born in Italy in 1564. He is still famous for his many experiments. In 1604, Galileo decided to test his hypothesis that falling objects speed up as they fall. He rolled balls down ramps and measured the distances they traveled in certain lengths of time. He measured when they started rolling and again just before they finished. It became important for scientists to share the information they discovered. Robert Boyle was an English scientist in the 1600s. He encouraged scientists to write reports giving clear instructions about their experiments. That way, other people could read the reports, repeat the experiments, and see the results for themselves. In 1660, Boyle and other scientists formed the Royal Society of London. The society published reports about new discoveries. At meetings, scientists showed other people how their experiments worked. Isaac Newton became president of the Royal Society of London in 1703. He was one of the greatest scientists of all time. Newton was also interested in magic and alchemy, an early kind of chemistry. Newton was already famous for his book, The Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy. It was published in 1687. The principles used math to describe motion in the universe, including gravity. Newton's book of experiments with light, called Optics, was published in 1704. These books not only described amazing scientific discoveries, but also how science should be done. And it says down at the bottom, explore online. The focus in chapter 2 was early scientists and the scientific revolution. It also touched upon the use of the scientific method by magicians. The website below focuses on Isaac Newton and alchemy. As you know, every source is different. How is the information given the website different from the information in this chapter? What information is the same? How do the two sources present information differently? And what can you learn from the website?